Grains all ending lower on Monday. Randy Martinson Ag is joining us. And Randy, we had a nice pop on Friday. Looked like some short covering activity in the grains, but did we just see profit taking or was this weather?
I think it could be both. We did see some farmer selling once we had a little bit higher prices on Friday. I do think we're also seeing, improving weather, the idea that the crop ratings and the crop progress report is going to be a little bit negative. I think all that came into play into the market to maybe have some, profit taking or at least a little bit of selling hit the market. But I'm also thinking there was a little disappointment, or at least we didn't see as big of a news coming out of the Iran-Israel thing. And I think that kind of downplayed the market a little bit too.
Yeah, Randy, we did look like we were putting some more premium into the grain market on Friday. And so maybe taking that out on Monday.
I think that was part of it. We did see, the markets perform fairly well. And again, I don't know if it seems like at the end of every week, we want to try to leave with very small changes from the previous week. But I do think that the good bump on Friday had something to do with the idea that there was going to be an attack imminent coming from Iran to Israel. The fact that it really didn't amount to much, I think, and the fact that a lot of countries now are telling Israel, back away, let's not see this escalate anymore. I think that's kind of taking some of the wind out of the grain markets and taking some of that war premium out.
Yeah, there's also been kind of some influence money flow wise from the outside markets, obviously, the higher dollar and some of these inflationary fears. None of that helps, does it?
It doesn't. And right now it does look like, when you look at where the inflationary indexes are coming into play and where we're seeing the economy, it does look like, it's inevitable. The Fed isn't going to lower interest rates anytime soon, especially not in June and maybe not until after September. But I think it could be possible that they have to come in and increase interest rates just to kind of bring this inflationary concerns a little bit back under control.
No doubt. What about the demand side? Export inspections out on Monday. Those looked a little better, at least for wheat. Corn wasn't too bad. And then we've been seeing some flash tenders on corn and beans.
And we have been, and it's good. I mean, the demand is there. I mean, you look at the export inspections, we're back up over 1 million for corn, which is really good. We're looking at wheat improving on our shipments. That's, definitely a positive on the wheat side of things. And like last week, we sold 500,000 metric ton of soybeans to an unknown destination. It's likely China. Mexico was in and bought. So it looks like our price points have gotten low enough where we're encouraging the demand, or at least the exports are there. It's just that we need to have more of that and see it a little more often.
Yeah, exactly. Exports can pick up, but we still have to chew through the extra supply that we have. Is that why the funds are maybe a little lackluster in terms of buying? And maybe, if you look at a commitment of traders report, they're still so short in all of these grains.
Yeah, that's part of it. The fact that it's going to take a while to chew through this and then to get through these extra bushels. Even no matter what, we're going to have 2 billion bushels of corn in our ending stocks estimate. That's nothing friendly by any stretch of the imagination. So the funds they'll likely hold their short positions. I would expect that they'll still trim them down a little bit, but I think they aren't going to go even or even on the long side unless we see some major weather event take place.
No doubt. When we were talking about demand, NOPA crush figure came out on Monday, a record, but again, less than expected.
Slightly less than expected, coming in at I think like 196. They were expecting it to be over 197. A record and a good number, no matter how you look at it, but it was a little less than anticipated.
Yeah. So let's also talk about farmer selling, because you mentioned that off the top of the program. And is that going to escalate like we saw at the end of February when we had all these basis fixed price contracts that had to be either executed on or rolled? Will it be to that degree again?
It might not be to that degree because we, of course, now road restrictions are in a lot of places. That might slow down some of the grain movement, but it's going to be close to that because the producers have, set their delivery timeframes when they can move the grain and be busy with trying to get a crop planted. So I do expect that we are going to see quite a bit of those basis fixed contracts get converted into cash contracts and the grain delivered.
Unfortunately, the funds know that, don't they?
They know that, and that also is helping them to hold on to their little bit bigger than expected short position.
Gotcha. So cattle market, we had a pop on Monday, but do you think that the market can stabilize?
Boy, I'd like to think it would. I mean, you look at, the reason why we're going down is a lot of it is tied to the avian flu. And, we don't know what the impacts or long-term impacts are going to be. We don't expect it to be much as far as the dairy herds are concerned. We haven't heard it of any beef herds at all. So I would think that common sense would come into play and this would kind of brush over. But again, just like we were seeing with the inflationary concerns, there's concerns on the consumer about what the product and how it's going to be, and that's has been keeping some pressure on it. As long as we keep seeing cases pop up, I think we're going to continue to see some pressure come in the market.
Yeah, and the correction that we've had in the stock market doesn't help the ideas of consumer demand for any meats, right?
No, it doesn't. I mean that's another good point. Most of the meat is consumed in the coast, east and west coast, and if the stock market's seeing a little bit of trouble, you're seeing a little bit of concerns about the inflation. You're going to slow down your demand. There's no question.
Thanks so much for joining us, Randy Martinson with Martinson Ag, and that is Markets Now.